Bless the Lord, everybody. Welcome back to my channel, Behind the Curtains with JoJo. Alrighty, so I don't have a poem for you today, but I'm just gonna share a little story with you. Okay, so now the other day I was sitting down, I was thinking, why do we always say we don't deserve God's love? And I started to write. So, God took the time to create us because He needed us to worship Him. He loved us, so He took such care and patience to mold us and shape us. And I personally have a bias and think that He loves women even more because of how He sculpted out our bodies. So God loves us. And He always loves us. Think about it. As a parent, we have our children because we want to have our children. Some of us. And some of them fulfill our lives. They fill voids. We love to dress them up. And no matter what our children does, we love them. A mother, our parents always love their children, for the most part. And there are times when our children may go astray, our children might go astray, and they do things that you might say they don't even deserve our love, but we still love them, and we never stop loving them. So, for example, you have 10 children. You grow them according to the book, the Bible, you do everything that is to keep them on the right track. You educate them, you feed them, you clothe them, you shelter them, everything. But 9 out of the 10 children stay on the track, stay on the path that you have cut out for them. They do well. But this one child decides to go astray and create their own way and just not behaving right. But you don't stop loving that child. As a matter of fact, it is that child that you mostly think about. It is that child that you mostly cry about. You pray more for that child. You pray to the master parent, the parent of all parents, for that child every day. And if that child comes and says they want anything, you try to give it to them in a hope that that child would come back to you. And for me, that is how God is with us. He created us to love us. But we sometimes stray from His teachings, and it is then that we don't deserve His love. But when we find our way back to Him, and sometimes He even comes for us, and we start to follow Him, and we are deserving of His love at that time. But sometimes when we are out there, we don't know. We don't know how much God loves us. And when our children are out there, even us as children, when we stray away from our parents, we don't know how much they love us. We don't know how much they cry daily for us and pray for us. And that is it with God. He is always trying to get the children that are out there and astray to come closer to Him. For example, the first 35 years of my life, I didn't realize how much God loved me. I didn't realize that God was yearning and wanting me to come close to Him. Wanting me to get the love that I deserve. I just didn't know. I didn't have the guidance. I remember the first time I felt God's touch. I was in high school. I was a member of ICF, and we went to a conference. All the ICF group came together. And in the midst of worship, something happened in that meeting, and I gave my heart to the Lord. I felt such joy, peace, and even when I was going home in the car, I was singing and I was floating on cloud 9. I remember I was singing that song, I shall not die, but to live and declare the works of the Lord. And I sang that song over and over and over. And all of that lasted until I got home. because there was no one to rejoice with me. There was no one to guide me, to tell me about the Lord, to tell me about the temptations I was going to face, the sin, and that this joy wouldn't last forever. No one to teach me about the Bible, to help me to pray. So by the end of the week, I was back to my old ways. Now can you imagine how my father felt, how God felt? No, the second time I felt his touch, I was an adult. I already had my first child, and there was a tent meeting in my community, and something happened again. And I remember this time tears just rolled down my face, and I felt that familiar feeling of peace and joy and the closeness of God. And I got baptized that night. And I went to church a couple of weeks, but I was living with my child's father at the time. So the pastor decided to come to my house one Sunday evening to talk to us about getting married. I backslid in that moment because this man wasn't the man I wanted to marry. This man was no husband material. And he wasn't guiding. He was basically telling us we need to get married because we live together. So I wasn't having that. And the church, I still went to church, but the church, the members of the church, they were more concerned with gossip and their appearance. There was this one young lady, she bleached her skin, she had long hair extensions and makeup, and she was the center of the church. She was on the choir and all of that. And it is in that moment I thought, I'm never going to a church where the ladies dress like that, extensions and makeup and all of that stuff, because I kind of just relate the behavior of the members with how they dressed. And so I missed my one church service to take my sister to the doctor, and I never went back. And it took me around 22 years. But fast forward to 22 years later, my father realized that I wanted to come home, because I always have a yearning to serve God. I've been to different churches just trying to find a home. But I didn't know where home was. So he came and he got me. God literally came for me. A church came in my community, and I was invited by my aunt, and the Lord spoke to me through the pastor. Every concern, everything that I had that I didn't want, I told him that I didn't want in a church. He spoke to me and told me that those things were not in this church, And I wasn't deserving of God's love for so long, but he never stopped loving me. 22 years of my life, I was never deserving of my father's love, but he never stopped loving me because he created me. I am his child. No, I am far from where he wants me to be, but I believe it's not a matter of working for God's love or saying you deserve or don't deserve his love. But the fact of the matter is, he loves us. He will always love us, because that is what parents do. So once you have a heart and a desire to be obedient to your father, no matter how lost you are, he will direct you home. He will. Thank you guys so much for listening. I really hope this little story inspires you. Just know that God's love doesn't go away because you behave bad. God's love is always there. It will always be there. And when you are ready, when you open up your heart to him and you are ready, he will find you. He will take you back. Thank you guys so much for listening. Bless the Lord. Bless the Lord. See you guys soon. Please subscribe to my channel. Notification bell. Click on it. Like my videos. Share my videos. Next week.